Hey guys, Magnus Robert here, bringing you another video. So today we're going to be going through the top 5 worst costumes of 2020 in the Simpsons Tapped Out. So if you missed it the other day, I did a top 5 best costumes that were in the Simpsons Tapped Out 2020. This one is the top 5 worst. So obviously how I structured that video was I had some honourable mentions and I sort of talked about them, and then I went on to the actual top 5. This one's going to be similar. I'm basically sort of ranking them, but I didn't want to rank them in one long video. I sort of wanted to split it into two, so I'm going to be doing some dishonourable mentions, talking about the ones that didn't quite make the honourable mentions for the best costumes, but didn't quite make the didn't quite make the, the top 5 worst. I will say though, I wanted to split it off into, so there were 6 costumes that I couldn't put on either list, so I had to split it into 3 honourable mentions, 3 dishonourable mentions. So this first one, honestly, I don't think is a bad costume. I actually think it is a good costume. It just didn't quite make the top 5 bests, and that is Cool Milhouse. I actually feel like I should have just put this on the as an honourable mention and just have 4 and 2, but yeah, Cool Milhouse. I actually think this one's a great costume. To be honest, it just missed out against the other ones. I thought that was it TikTok Simpson, and we had the Lady Milhouse and the Donut Homer. Yeah, I just think it's not as great as those 3, but it is certainly still a good costume. So I actually give this one props. It isn't bad. It's Cool Milhouse, but it unfortunately landed on this list. Oops. Pride Homer. Yeah, this one I think for the most part is mediocre. I don't think it's anything amazing. I don't think it's anything terrible. I just think it's mediocre. So that's why it doesn't quite make the top 5 worst. Yeah, I don't know. It was the final prize of the Pride update. I'll be honest though, a little forgettable. I think there were some decent animations in there. I thought the actual questline for the costume was a bit dull. It wasn't anything hilarious. And yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, in a few years I'll completely forget this costume exists. It's going to be another one of Homer's costumes that just kind of falls into that sort of memory hole, you know. I don't think I'm going to be remembering it in years to come. Whereas like this costume's like Donut Homer, like I'll probably always remember Donut Homer because that's an awesome ass costume. But this one I just don't think I will. That being said, it's nothing terrible. It's all right. Pride Homer. Italian Milhouse is the worst of the dishonourable mentions. My issue with this is I don't think the animations are anything too interesting, and I also just think the look of it is nothing too special either. I honestly think this could have just been an animation. I'm torn between the two, right? Because part of me thinks that, yeah, this is probably justified to be a costume, but at the same strength, maybe not. I don't know. It was an aspect of that. Obviously, the episode, is the Red Hot Mamas episode, I believe this is from. Obviously, that's the episode where like Milhouse becomes Lisa's Italian teacher and takes her to Springfield, to Little Italy, and all that. I think the costume is not amazing. I don't think it looks great. The animations aren't brilliant. The quest line was a bit so yeah, but not terrible. I think it's probably, I would say it's more bad than meh, but it's certainly not, like, awful. Anyway, we've got the dishonourable mentions out of the way. Let's get into the top 5. Starting with number 5, we gotta go with Mysterious Waylon. I again feel bad, okay, because even this costume, like even Italian Milhouse, has some good things to it, and I think this costume has some good things going for it too. I do think it looks awesome. I think Waylon Smithers is probably maybe not. I'd probably say Sideshow Mel has got the best drag in my opinion, but Waylon actually, the drag looks awesome. I mean, he looks completely different, unlike, Homer, who is just Homer in a dress and a wig, This one, there's a lot of effort in there, and I appreciate that. And it does look pretty dapper. But that being said, I didn't really think the inclusion of this costume was amazing. And what I mean by that is, if you look at the episode that this is from, and I actually watched the episode after I played through the event, but if you look at the episode that this is from, this was like, this costume for Waylon wasn't like a massive part in the episode, but they made it a massive part of the show, of the update. And yeah, I don't know, its inclusion as the premium character and the sort of role it played in the quest line, to me, was a bit odd. I just didn't think it made tons of sense. And I just think there were better things to be added. And obviously Queen Shanty is one of them. And there was the two other drag people. I think one of them's called, is it like Fiona Adams Apple or something like that? And Barbara Streisand or something? The other two girls anyway. Well, the other two drag queens. They weren't added, but we got this costume for Waylon. It was just a bit odd that this came with Draggle Rock of all things, is my point. I just think the placement of this costume was a bit odd, and I think there was better things to be added. So that's why it's number 5. It's not terrible though. It definitely looks cool. The animations are okay as well, so there are redeeming factors about it. Sexy Santa Marge. Okay, this one is kind of bad. I think I was kind of originally sort of saying it's meh to bad. I'm going to go with bad. The reason why is it's nothing special for Marge. It's certainly this year was a good year for Marge costumes for sure. We got some great Marge costumes considering she didn't actually have that many before. So I remember I ranked all of them and there wasn't too many. This was a great year for Marge costumes. You know, we got Cleric Marge and we got the Glamazon Marge as well. This, though, was not such a great costume. I think this is probably one of her worst. Maybe not her worst, but it's certainly down there, you know. I just don't think there's anything for it. The animations are fine. They're nothing hilarious, but they're nothing terrible. But, I don't know, there's something about this costume. It's just nothing too interesting, right? I mean, it's cool that we've got a different outfit for Marge, but I just think, yeah, there's nothing so interesting about this. I think it's largely forgettable. So that is number 4, Sexy Santa Marge. Pirate Nelson. Oh, this is not number 2 or number 1. This is number 3. The main reason why I put this as number 3 and not number 2 or 1 is, although yes, it looks lame as hell. It's literally just Nelson with a hat and a. Has he got a hat? Yeah, I think he's got a hat. Has he got a hat? No, it's a bandana, not a hat. Yeah, it's Nelson with a bandana and an eye patch on. And that is very lame. In terms of looks. In terms of aesthetics. But I think the questline and the tasks are not bad. I think they're alright. Maybe not the tasks as much. I think the tasks, again, are sort of fine. I do really love that one on the houseboat, though. The fact they tied that back was pretty cool. The questline, I really enjoyed his questline. Honestly, for what this costume was, I think it was probably better that they just didn't add this. Don't get me wrong. But I think they did a decent job with the questline. That being said, it looks lame. So that's why it's on this list. I didn't put it any higher. I think they did good effort in terms of the questline, and the tasks aren't, they're not god-awful. But the actual costume does look lame, so I can't put it any lower. It has to be number 3. So that is Pirate Nelson at number 3. Honest Abe. So there are a few reasons why Honest Abe is number 2. First of all, this should have been an animation for Gorgeous Grandpa. Okay, I'm just going to be straight out. Honest Abe was like 40 seconds of the episode. It didn't make any sense to make this a separate costume when you already have Gorgeous Grandpa in the game. What they should have done is given us a beautiful, is it Beautiful Boy or Beautiful Bart? Whichever one, yeah, Beautiful Bart, I think. They should have given us the Beautiful Bart skin for Bart, and if they wanted to, throw in an animation on top for Gorgeous Grandpa, or, give us Gorgeous Grandpa for free, for players who don't have him. I think did they do that? I'm not even sure if they did that. But give us Gorgeous Grandpa for the costume for Grandpa, and then throw in an animation on top of that to, transform into Honest Abe or whatever. I think adding it as a separate skin was a bit lazy, and it felt like they needed something in there, and they just sort of threw it in there. I think the animations are pretty lame, nothing amazing. I think the quest line was very boring too. I just didn't think there was any point to add this as a separate costume. I think it would have been fine as just an animation for Gorgeous Grandpa. I know the Gorgeous Grandpa is, looks a bit, is a younger grandpa, but even so, I mean, I still think this should have just been an animation. So that is the reason why Honest Abe is number 2. Sort of bad quest line, bad animations, and it should have been an animation. It should have just been an animation itself. Anyway, let's move on to number 1. Can we have that drum roll, please? It's gotta be the Game Master. What did you expect? Okay, there are multiple reasons why the Game Master is number 1. Let's start with the first. He's a tapped out exclusive. Now, normally I'm lenient on tapped out exclusive stuff. So when it's semi-exclusive, as in like it's something that is canon to the show, like a location that's canon to the show, for example, or a character that's canon to the show, but we haven't actually seen said, item. For example, a few examples of good tapped out exclusive things. Chester Debray, is it Debray or Debray, which is Bernice's brother. I've said negative things about it in the past, but overall I think that's I'm not mad at it so much. I think that's a good tapped out exclusive character. It's a character we know is canon, but he's exclusive to tapped out. Another good example of a building is the Hammock district that we got in the Secret Agents update. That's a tapped out exclusive, but it is obviously canon. Obviously Hank Scorpio goes on a big high raid about it, and I actually love that building. I think it's great. And then you have buildings that are sort of not semi-exclusive, they're just exclusive. A good example of this would be Old Scratcher's Gym. That's a tapped-out exclusive that didn't appear in the show. And that one I like, or Big Claw is a good example. Big Claw, for the most part, I thought was okay. And then you have this. This is the Game Master. So this is an entirely tapped-out exclusive. And I normally wouldn't be so annoyed about it. I think I would have been very lenient on this costume, and in terms of this aspect, this criticism, in terms of the tapped out exclusive, I would have been not so harsh on it if it had given us Milo for free on top of this. But the issue is it doesn't give you Milo for free. He's in the store. So that is the first reason, and this is obviously in the prize track. The second reason why I think this costume is bad is because it's a blatant reskin of the Detonator. So obviously in the first year of the first Game of Games update we got the character called the Detonator. Now in the episode that it's based off, obviously this is a guy, he comes in, I thought he was a very lame character and someone got very mad at me because I said he was a lame character. But yeah, the Detonator. And if you compare the Detonator to the Game Master costume for Milo, look at them. They are so similar. The same hoodie, it's just been darkened, they've sort of darkened the face. Yeah, it's a blatant reskin of the Detonator. And it's just lazy, it looks so goddamn lazy. And on top of that, I thought the twist of him was really weird. The placement of the costume in the prize track was really odd and didn't make much sense. Like, it wasn't like the big final boss. The animations aren't particularly amazing. I thought the quest line was very boring for it. Overall, I just think this costume was so odd and pointless. I just don't think they should have bothered. Yeah, honestly, I think This is by far one of the worst costumes ever added in Tapped Out. Certainly 2020's worst costume by far. I will take 10 Pirate Nelsons and 80 Honest Abes over this costume any day. So that is it for my top 5 worst costumes of 2020. I hope you all agree that the Game Master is the worst. I hope I've laid out my argument quite well. But yeah, so thanks for watching as always. Tell me your thoughts, and I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.